Hi, I'm Kim Sauer at Apex 2016. I'm joined today by Jason Spera from Aegis. Jason, it's great to see you here. First day of the show. As always, the big theme, the thing that everybody's talking about is Industry 4.0. Now, there's lots of different ways of thinking about it, and a lot of people just really understand the basics of it and think it's about communication between machines.
That's
essentially
typically what most people
think. So, but is it really just about that?
No, actually it is a much wider issue. And you're right, most people think, how is my stencil printer going to communicate with pick and place, vice versa, generally around the surface mount line. But there is a much wider factory operation involved. And all of the entities in the factory are important to the Industry 4.0 model. And one of them, actually, that we think is maybe neglected in the discussions around the subject is shop floor material control, incoming material management, warehouse control, and scheduling and dispatch orders to the lines. All of that materials management issue is a very key part of supporting an entire Industry 4.0 model. And actually that is what the focus of our particular show is about, is the release of a logistics system for material control on the shop floor that adds all the data involved in that matter to the Industry 4.0 model for an entire shop floor control system.
Because there's always, obviously, going back to that machine communication, those benefits of increasing yield, et cetera, but when we're talking about materials and logistics, huge benefits of having control over that.
Absolutely. There's, if one thinks about all the complex and actually somewhat labor-intensive processes from the time something comes into the loading dock to the warehouse and then dispatching them to the appropriate lines after scheduling, and then the backflow and all of that, it involves data connection to the machine as to did this entity intercept that machine at the right time in the right place. All of that involves Industry 4.0 style data feeds. So a proper factory-wide materials control system, it relies upon having a good, complete data network about where those materials are, where were they going, how much were they depleted, and so forth. So it actually is an intrinsic part of the 4.0 issue.
And so you've got a new release out.
Yes.
And that covers these aspects, as well as, of course, everything else that goes within a full-scale solution, I suppose.
It does, because in a full material control system, you have, maybe the obvious things of the mobile devices that the operators are running around the warehouse with, the scanners at the incoming material dock, the quality inspection stations in incoming quality control. All of these are data feeds that are very important to the overall factory system, going back to ERP, telling it what is actually being consumed and where is it. But also there's the machine side of, did that material make it to the location? And then as that board was being populated, what was the actual attrition of the parts? All of that adds to the entire data model of the factory.
And so your software release is out already?
Yes.
Or is it being released here at the
this is
literally
the official
as a
release,
launch?
yes, but actually is in sites.
Okay. So if you summed up the key benefits of that in very few words, what would you say?
Well, I'll attempt some few words, but the major areas of what it addresses is, as I mentioned, you have a lot of challenges, particularly in bigger factories, actually, of the incoming material management. ERP is very good at managing the stores in the warehouse. It knows what's in the warehouse. Typically, it will also know what came in from the loading dock, obviously. But then there becomes a very difficult challenge of how are you managing the incoming quality inspection, sampling, switching rules on sampling to optimize the labor you're applying to inspection of raw materials coming in. But then how do you schedule across large factories of where should the materials be going right now? And what happens if I have to build short? And where do I even find the materials to compensate? Very hard to do. ERP typically doesn't handle that at a rich level, and operators running around with spreadsheets or point solutions that don't have connections to the machines, it can't really be done efficiently. And then you have the issue of the actual verification of the materials, moving through, say, local stores, Kanban, and then intercepting the machines, and then back when they have to be returned. But also, the solution can manage not returning closed loop back to warehouse, but going from one job to another to actually keep the uptime of all the lines maximized.
And is this a solution?
I'm not sure that was a few words.
No, well, it wasn't a few words, but it was perfectly clear, and it sounds to me like it's a solution that would go beyond any SMT manufacturing environment. It's relevant to other productions as well.
Yes, it's vertical agnostic, so it can handle electronics at a very rich level, but it was actually designed fundamentally to be able to build an aircraft and deal with the movement of massive materials around the factory as well. The circuit card, the vision is that a proper system has to be able to handle the circuit card, but most products, discrete products, have a circuit card in them, but they go all the way up through sub-assemblies, for example, the entire console in an aircraft, but then that console going into the aircraft and the fuselage, all of that. And it is not limited to just electronics. It handles every piece of material factory-wide.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Well, Jason, thank you very much for your time, and good luck with the show.
Thank you very much, Kim.
Thank you.